Hi guys, welcome back to Otto's Garage. Right, it's been a while since the last update. Work got in the way, and then we had all that thing with Christmas as well, and our good old friend COVID. Anyway, we won't mention anything else about that. Anyway, I thought I'd better have a look at the rear calipers, because I haven't done anything to those for a while. One of the previous episodes we pulled them all apart, but I've now been able to actually get them into the little parts, clean them all up, apply some paint on them, and take the old rusty steel bits down to the powder coaters. But I'll just show you what I've done with the actual calipers themselves. So these are the cleaned off and repainted pistons. Now these are actually an alley part, whereas the main caliper itself is actually made of steel or cast, whatever, and that's being powder coated. But I've basically cleaned all of these up, got all the crap off them, repainted them, and now what we're going to do is we're going to refit the seal kit down inside there. So we'll put the seal on it and we'll get the piston put back in, and then the little hole down the back there, that's basically the handbrake mechanism. So that all goes into here with a lever which works on that. So I'll get these back together and we'll see what they look like while we're waiting for the other parts to come back from the powder coaters. Right, that's all the parts laid out. So what I've done is basically, that's obviously the two aluminium cylinders that we've got there. We've got the pistons, which are in good nick. Yeah, I'm quite happy with those. There's nothing horrendous on them, so we should be able to just basically get those refitted with the new seals in there. Just tidied up some of these other bits and bobs. The spring clip there, which is the return for the handbrake lever. These are pad retention springs. That's actually the mechanism for the handbrake as well. So it's basically got an adjuster on it. Then these little washers form a kind of a location into the back here, and it gives it just a bit of spring on that as well. And then the other thing that I've done is got a seal kit basically. So that's got some seals in it, and it's got a new bleed nipple in there as well, dust shield and cylinder piston seal, and then there's some spring clips and some little other clips in there which are for the brake pads when they go in. So we can't do anything with the brake pads at the moment because we're still waiting for the parts to come back from powder coat, but we'll have a go at assembling those. Right, that's the seal, the little O-ring, which is this guy here, and he's square edged. See that quite well. So that sits down in that little groove inside, but when you try and put the piston in, it just grips. So what you've got to use is a little bit of this red brake grease, just a little bit on the rubber there, just to lubricate that a little bit. You don't put too much in there, and you have got to make sure you use the right stuff, because obviously it's got to be compatible with the brake fluid and obviously the seals as well. So you can't just chuck a bit of Vaseline on there or anything silly like that. The other thing that comes with the kit, there's a little, if you can just see in front of the washers there's a little O-ring which goes around, so you can get a bit more better light on that. There you go, a little O-ring just in there which sits in that groove, and that basically seals the fluid which is going to be on the threaded side from coming out the back end where the handbrake mechanism goes. So this is going to fit down this hole here, and again the little O-ring will seal against that hole in there. However, we do have to put a washer in on the two as well. I'm guessing that this is because we've got movable parts coming against it. It's just stopping the surface of the alley being chewed. So there's a steel washer that goes in there, and I'll put a bit of copper ease on there as well, just to stop it seizing up in the future. That's the little handbrake plunger in the back there, and then what we need to do now is just fit this little seal, which is just a dust shield, and that's going to go on the front. Just pop it over there, and in true Blue Peter style, here's one I did earlier. So that's got there's a little groove in the back of the face of the piston as well, so that retains the front of the dust shield, and then it snaps over onto this groove at the back here. That's quite tricky to get on. It is quite a tight fit, but you need that. So, and then the only other thing I've done there is I just put the bleed in for the moment. I can't really do anything else on those until we get the powder coating parts back, so I'm just going to set those on one side and we'll come back to those at a later date. Right, the other thing I'm going to say about these little calipers is that they're quite a common part, just bear with me, on some of the Fiat Group cars, and I'm pretty sure from what I've done, these are 34mm pistons on these, so they're referred to as 34mm calipers basically. But what they have on them is a little rubber boot on the back. Now that's basically to cover up where the handbrake lever goes through, so that levers onto the back. That levers onto the back of the handbrake pistons that we've put in there, the adjusters. And then this cap basically sits over the top of the whole shabooey, and basically it keeps it clean, keeps the dust out of there. This one's not bad, but it's a little bit brittle. You can't get these from Lancia, from what I've been able to ascertain. And what they basically are, if you have a hunt around and you look for X19, Fiat X19 calipers, rear brake calipers, you can get the dust boot from them, and it looks like it is the same one. So I'm going to get a pair of new boots ordered for that, and then we'll pop those on when they're all done as well. So hopefully that'll sort that one out. Right, I've had something else arrive. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm going to have a look at it and just see what it looks like. So, in the box, which arrived, we've got a pump. Now, that is off a Vauxhall Astra. And a Vauxhall Astra pump, why you ask? Well, basically, on the Vauxhall Astra, they've got an electronic hydraulic pump. So basically, an electric motor which powers a hydraulic circuit for the power steering. So what I'm doing on the Prisma is I'm taking off the hydraulic pump, which is driven off the engine, and we're going with an electric solution on that. I believe this is quite a popular option on a lot of drift cars. So basically what we're trying to do is take away that horsepower sapping pump off the engine. It's running all the time, whether you're going in a straight line or turning, and going to have an electronic one. So that should free up a few horses. Obviously we're still going to have to power the pump electronically, but I do believe it does free up a few horses for it. So, and also you can kind of lose a bit of belt length and stuff like that down there, so we're just trying to tidy it all up a little bit in the engine bay and get as much off the engine as we can. So what we'll do is have a look at this and we'll get it cleaned up. And there it is. So it's a great unit because it's got a reservoir all self-contained in it. It's a TRW, that's quite a good make. They use that a lot on different pumps and stuff like that, so it's a decent known brand basically. Dead simple. You've got these little bobbins here. They sit in a cradle, which is actually at the powder coaters at the moment, so we've got one of those. This is the return feed, so that just basically, after it's come from the steering rack, it'll go through a cooler and then it'll shoot up into the tank to return. And then the little port on the side there, that's where the pressurized hose comes out and goes down to the rack. Obviously there's a cap on the top of it so you can fill it up, and then on the other side we've got a earth lead. That's quite straightforward, and then I think there's a mains live, that's a permanent live to it, and then there's the control basically. So what we'll have to do is have a look and see what the wires are doing in there. I'm pretty sure it's fairly straightforward, so we can kind of have a ignition feed or maybe a pump feed. So we might just have a switch on the dash that controls all of the pumps, the fuel pump and the hydraulic pump and stuff like that. So when you flick those on, all the pumps will fire up, and then she should do what she says on the box, all being well. Obviously I'm going to have to get some hoses made for the correct length and size and position, and then it should all come together. The other thing that it does need, which I will put in there, I'm going to put a little cooler, so a little radiator cooler, after it's been to the pump, after it's been to the rack and before it goes back to the pump. We'll put a little cooler in there, and that'll mount on the inside of the wing somewhere, just so it'll take a bit of heat off that fluid which has been around the system. So the next thing really is to try and work out where that's going to go, and I think in order for it to go in the position I'd like it to go, I may even have to do things like fit the wiper motors and stuff like that, so we can see what's going on. Right, here's a quick one for you. Budget parts washer. So basically we've got a this is out of a sink, a kitchen sink. It's kind of like the draining bit that goes in between the two main bowls. There might even have some tea stains on there, but anyway, that's that. A couple of bolts or a couple of bits of bar or something like that, just in a roasting tin on the bottom there, and then you can sit your draining dish on the top of it. We can put a bit of cleaning fluid inside there, and then any of the parts that we're cleaning in that we can just basically lift up and drain out afterwards. So a dead simple solution for doing a bit of cleaning. So the fluid that I'm using in the parts washer there is a mix of petrol and diesel. It's probably about 80% petrol, 20% diesel. And the reason it's that specific mix is because I stuck petrol in the diesel car and misfueled. Anyway, when we pumped it out, I thought, right, I'll hang on to that. And it's great for doing a bit of degreasing, or, you know, just getting all that worst crap off when you're trying to clean up some of those second-hand parts. But you can see here now how it's kind of really lifted all of that grime. I'll just use a little brush just to kind of get into all the little corners and things like that. But it's already looking nice and clean, a lot better than it was when it came in the box. And you can see how the old parts washer's working as well. We've got all the dirty fluid down here, and it's just kind of draining out and keeping this clean. Now, the only other thing I would say is it's probably a good idea to wear some safety glasses when you're doing this, because obviously it can splash back into your face, and I've just remembered that and didn't put them on in the first place, but never mind, all's good in the hood. So that's the parts washer. Okay, I've just taken the Jubilee clip off there, which was holding that, and with a very little gentle persuasion the reservoir comes off, so we can just give that a bit of a clean inside. It isn't terribly bad, to be honest, and it looks quite clean down there as well, so I'm not going to disturb any of these seals on this. We'll just give it a gentle clean off, and then it can go back on again. And if any of you Lancia boffins are a bit surprised, oh, you can't be putting a Vauxhall part on there, you'll be pleased to know that it's made in Italy. So we're all good in the hood on that one, boys. So what I'll do now is I'll give that a bit of a clean off, and then what I want to do is I'm just going to paint this top, tidy this top piece up. We'll leave the bottom polished aluminium there, but just where we've got a little bit of this discoloration on it, we'll just tidy that up so she looks the part. Okay, so a couple of episodes ago you probably saw me doing those headlights, the twin headlights, and getting that profile cut out and then basically getting them mounted up on the car. A couple of people have said, when are those headlights going to be done? So anyway, long and short of it is that I've just temporarily wired them up just to find out what exactly does what, and well, you make your own mind up. So there's a bit of a rat's nest of wiring going on, but basically that is giving us our side lights. So they're the daytime running lights. They can be on or off, whichever we're going to go with. But when we add another feed to it, you'll see. That's pretty cool. So the daytime running light turns into an indicator. So that is happy days. If we didn't have the daytime running light going, then we could always, let's just take that one off, we could always just have the indicator running like that. So the choice is there for us to do whatever we want with. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I like that. So anyway, I think what I might do, I've got a couple of days that I'm doing some other bits and bobs on it. I might just get those mounted up in the front of the car, and we can just have a look and see how they look actually mounted. And then we can have a bit of a play with it. Yeah, so that's cool. I like that. I do like doing electrics. You know, you can see positive results from it pretty quickly. And it's good just trying to fathom it all out and just try and get a solution to any issues that we might have. So that's a good step forward on the lights anyway. Happy days. Okay, so back to our power steering pump. That's the body all painted up. So that's looking quite neat and tidy. What we're going to do now is we're going to strip off the masking tape, and we can remount the tank on the top of it, put it all back together. And then I'm hoping that we can kind of get it offered up in position under the engine bay there and just see exactly what we're going to have to do in the way of pipes, etc. Right, there's the cleaned up reservoir, so we're going to put all that back on there and have a quick look. And there we go, one power steering pump, all cleaned up nicely. So all we need now is the cradle from the powder coater, and then we can basically get her offered up in the car and see just exactly how it's all going to get plumbed in. Happy days. So, I hope you enjoyed that bit of a catch-up. I know for a fact that the next episode is going to include some engine work. So, hope you come back and watch that one. In the meantime, thanks for watching Otto's Garage, and I'll see you soon, guys. Cheers.